What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So today, we're going to talk about the increase in Tommy John surgery these last couple of years. So these last 2 years, we've had a lot of Tommy John surgeries for whatever reason. You know, I saw a stat. I'm not sure if I mentioned it on this podcast. I may have. Prior to last year, on average, every year there was 252 Tommy John surgeries the previous 10 years prior to last year. That's about 25 per season. Last year there was 31. Right now, this year we're on pace for 52. So something's wrong. So I've heard a lot of different things. You know, I've heard the most popular one I've heard is the pitch clock. You've heard a big increase, you know, since last year. Obviously, they throw it in there. You know, pitchers don't have as much time. You know, it's messing them up, and that's what's caused it. I really don't think that's the case. You know, obviously, they put the pitch clock in last year. Before that, they put it in the minor leagues. As far as I know, there was no issues, and those guys are in the minor leagues, and these guys are in the major leagues. I don't see how that would be an issue, opposed to having, you know, really all the time that you want. Now, so you have to, what is it, with guys on base, you have 20 seconds, with no guys on base, 18 seconds, whatever it is, or I think it's so about 20 seconds. I don't know why that would be an issue. They adjusted to, obviously there was going to be kinks, you know, in the beginning, last year they worked them out, and by May, you kind of forgot it was there, and it was a smooth transition. I'm here to show you guys why. It has nothing to do with the pitch clock. So these are all the guys that have had, or at least the main guys that have had Tommy Johns recently. So Shane Bieber just had Tommy John. He had it a few weeks ago. He announced he was having it. So I'm going to go through his average fastball velocity every year he's been in the league, and the percentage of which he throws his fastball. So, he throws his fastball. This is the average velocity every year. 93 miles an hour, 93, 94, 92.8, 91.3, 91, 91.3, 92. He throws it. This is how much he throws, like 57.3%. 44.2%, 37.8%, 35.3%, 34.4%, 35.2%, 41.6%. So he doesn't throw super hard, but this is a guy. Beginning of his career, first couple of years, he was averaging 93, 94. Then he kind of dipped down to 92. Then dipped down to 91. Last year, it bumped back up to 91. You know, his rookie year, he threw his fastball 57% of the time, and that ended up dropping all the way down to 35%, even 34%. You know, as of 2 years ago, last year was at 35%, and before he got hurt this year, he was at 41%. Yuri Perez, the young starter from the Miami Marlins, in his rookie year last year, he got hurt in spring training and ended up having to have Tommy John early on in the season. Yuri Perez last year, in his rookie year, averaged 97.5 mile per hour on his fastball, and he threw it 47.5% of the time. Felix Bautista, of course, he's a reliever. He was the all-star closer for the Orioles last year. His rookie year, he threw his fastball on average. The average velocity was 99.1. Obviously, he's a reliever. Plus, with starters throwing 100 pitches, you know, in 5, 6, 7 innings, pitching every fifth day. Felix Bautista is pitching, you know, a lot of times 3-4 times a week. He's only going one inning, only throwing about 10, 15, 20 pitches. Last year, he threw on average 99.5 miles per hour. Of course, he ended up having Tommy John in, I think, in September or October. His first year, he threw his fastball 61.3% of the time. Last year, he threw it 70.4% of the time. Lucas Giolito. You know, he's had it's a guy who's always been, you know, a guy. All right, he's a pretty solid starter, kind of an average pitcher, but he's had some great years, had some down years, but he gets the ball every fifth day. He gives you at least 30 starts every year. Of course, he got hurt in spring training. He had surgery. You know, not Tommy John, but he's probably out for the season. Now, his rookie year was 2016. This is his fastball velo on average every year. 94, 92.4, 92.4, 94.2, 94, 93.8, 92.6, 93.1. And this is the percentage that he threw his fastball since 2017. 2016 was his first full season. 2016 he only made a handful of starts. 49.3, 39.5, 55, 50.6, 43.9, 47.7, 41.9. Shane McClanahan. Of course, he's a young son making for the Rays. He had Tommy John last season. In his rookie year, he threw his fastball. His average fastball velo was 96.4. In his second year was 96.7. Last year was 96.8. Before he got hurt. This is the percentage that he threw his fastball. 40.9, 35.6, 41.9% of the time. Jacob deGrom, of course, is a guy who's on the verge of being an all-time great, and the Armagers have really hammered him his last couple of years. His rookie year was 2015. This is his average fastball velocity. Every year. 95.7, 94.9, 95.2, 96, 96.9, 98.6, 99.2, which is a starter, by the way, 98.9, 98. This is the amount of time, this is the percentage he throws his fastball, starting in 2017. His rookie year was 2014 was his rookie year, really. Starting in 2017 is when he started to kind of become the deGrom that we know. 39.5, 42.8, 46.6, 44.8, 57.4, 47.4, 52.1. Sandy Alcantara. He's a guy who was the Cy Young of the National League for the Miami Marlins 2 years ago. Had down year last year, ended up having Tommy John. This is just an average fastball velocity per year. His rookie year was 2017. 98.6, 95.5, 95.6, 96.9, 98.1, 98.8, 98.9. This is his average. This is the amount of time he throws it per season. His is much. He doesn't throw his fastball as much. He's a sinker ball guy, but he throws it 25.2% of the time, 33.5, 30.2, 24.8, 21.6, 25.1, 21.3. So he's a sinker ball guy. Walker Buehler had Tommy John surgery almost 2 years ago at this point. Still working his way back. His rookie year was 2017. This is his average fastball velo. 98.2, 96.1, 96.5, 96.8, 95.3, 95. That's 0.2 on the last one. This is the percentage that he throws his fastball, starting in his rookie year 2017. 39.5, 53.8, 44.4, 33.8. Robbie Ray. His rookie year was 2015. This is his average fastball velocity per season. 94.1, 94.9, 94.2, 93.6, 92.4, 93.9, 94.8, 93.4, 92.9. He had Tommy John surgery, beginning of last year. He's still working his way back. He should be back some point this summer. Of course, he's now with the Giants. This is the amount of time he throws his fastball, starting in 2017, when he really became a full-time major leaguer. 56.4, 53.8, 42.7, 47.4, 59.2, 39.3, and then 56% of the time, last time we saw him. Dustin May, who's a top prospect from the Dodgers. They called him Ginger Guard. Of course, he had the similar hair to Noah Syndergaard, except he was a ginger and then a blonde. His rookie year was 2019. He's had injuries pretty much every year he's been in the league. He had Tommy John surgery almost 2 years ago, still working his way back. Actually, no, I think he just got back this year. He's pitched sparingly so far. Since 2019, this is his average fastball velo. 95.7, 99.1, 98.3, 98.1, 97.3. His is a little different when it comes to the how much he throws. He's a sinker ball guy, and he also throws a lot of cutters. So he doesn't throw as many four-seamers. 6.7, 5.5, 19. 0.2, 23.2, 26.9. Let me correct myself. 90% of the time, 2 years ago, last year, 23.2, and then 26.9 so far this year. Spencer Strider, the young stud for the Braves. He didn't have Tommy John, but he just had season-ending surgery on his shoulder, on his elbow rather. was able to avoid Tommy John, but he won't pitch the rest this whole year. So this is his average fastball velo every year: 97.9, 98.2, 97.2, 96.3. This is how much he throws it: 78.9, 67, 58.9, 51.1. Have we noticed a trend? A lot of these guys throw really freaking hard. Yuri Perez last year in his rookie year was throwing his fastball 97. He was averaging 97.5 miles per hour on his fastball, and he was throwing almost half the time. Remember, a lot of these starters, most of the relievers only have 2 pitches or so, because you're they're not in for that long. You keep the guys guessing. These starters, it's hard to only really have like 2 pitches, because if you're facing each batter facing you 3 times, if they only have 2 pitches, it's gonna be kind of easy to figure out. That's why most people have 4, 5, 6 pitches. So Yuri Perez last year threw his fastball 47.5% of the time. I don't know, how many pitches each guy has. That's a whole other, clog of research that I'd have to do. But let me tell you this: 47.5% is a lot for for a percent of the time you're using the pitch, especially as a starter. It's one thing if you're a reliever, you have a fastball and a slider, and you throw your fastball 70% of the time, you're in your slider 30% of the time. But that's different. As a starter, when you got 4 or 5 pitches, if you're throwing a pitch over 4% of the time, that's a lot. That pitch better be really freaking good. Now, Felix Bautista, he's a reliever, but still, he's averaging 99 miles per hour on his fastball right out of the gate. He threw it 61% of the time, then 70% of the time. Look at DeGrom. DeGrom averaged between 94 and 95 miles per hour on his fastball his first 3 years in the league. First 3 or 4 years in the league. That jumped to 96, I think in 2018, 2019. And I think by like 2020, he was up over 98. And then by 2021, he was up over 99. He's a starting pitcher who didn't, get called up to the major league until he's 25, 26. Most guys by the time they're 23 are already here. He had a little bit developed mind, a little bit slower. So he didn't get messed in and called up until he was 25, 26. And as he's getting older, he's throwing harder. He starts throwing his fastball, more and more and more, peaking 3 years ago at 52.1%. Then 2 years ago, his last year with the Mets, where he only made like 11 starts. He threw it 47.4% of the time. And last year in Texas, before he got hurt and eventually had to have Tommy John, he threw it 52.1% of the time. Look at Sandy Alcantara, guy. He's a starter. His rookie year, his average fastball velo was 98%. Then it dropped down to 95, 96, then jumped back up to 98. His last 3 years we've seen him. He doesn't throw it as much because he is a sinker. He's a sinker ball guy. He also throws a cutter. But still, the increase in velocity was very significant. You see a guy like Robbie Ray. Now, when he first came to the league, he was throwing it over half the time. He was throwing it 56 and 53% of the time, respectively. He's able to, he got that down to like 42 and 47%. Then he jumped back up to 59. 2 years ago, jumped back up to 30, jumped back down to 39. But then last time we saw him, it was a 56%. So he went from throwing them a lot, not as much, a lot, not as much, a lot. Dustin May, right out of the gate, is averaging. Well, no, Dustin May's rookie year, he averaged 95 miles per hour, almost 96 on his fastball. The very next year, he averaged 99. And he's been sitting in that 98, 99, 97 range, for a long time. Again, he's a sinker ball guy. He doesn't throw a ton of them, but he threw it between 5 and 6, almost 7% of the time his first 2 years. That has gone up to 19% in his third year. And then his second most recent year was at 23%, and right now it's at almost 27% of the time. Spencer Strider, right out of the gate, is averaging 97, 98 miles per hour on his fastball. And he throws it a lot. He's thrown it less and less each year, but his rookie year, when he was rookie of the year, he threw it 67% of the time. Last year, he threw it almost 59% of the time. This year, before he got hurt, he was throwing it over 51% of the time. look at Shane McGlynn, right out of the gate, he's throwing 96 miles per hour on average. Now, his rookie year, he threw it almost 41% of the time. That dropped down to 35% in his second year in the league. In his third year in the league last year, he was throwing almost 42% of the time. Pretty much every single guy in this list throws really hard. They right out of the gate are throwing really hard. They're just every pitcher rearing back and throwing as hard as they can. They're right here, they start out throwing like, let's say 95, and then within like a year or two, they start just, throwing much, much harder out of nowhere. And then, and also they're throwing it a lot. Like they'll start throwing it up, and then as they, start to, learn about their arm and their body, and they develop their craft and their other pitches, they'll throw it less. But then all of a sudden they're like, ooh, blowing guys with the fastball was fun. Let's all of a sudden randomly start throwing my fastball more. This is not the way to go. Something else that I think people aren't thinking about, some people aren't thinking about, some people are. I've heard maybe, because obviously they banned like the sticky stuff 2 years ago. You had that whole thing, the Spire Attack and all that. When Tyler Glasnow had Tommy John, he blamed that. He said, he said, I'm choking the blank out of my pitches. Can't say the word that he said on the, live on camera on YouTube here. But he said that because remember they did it like in the middle season. A lot of guys complained, and so maybe you think that, but at this point, guys are used to it then by now. That was what, like 3 years ago, or pushing 3 years at this point. Like no, guys got used to it by now. I can understand maybe that one season, maybe the first half of the year after. But by now, you got to be used to it by now. It's been almost 3 or 4 full seasons at this point since they put that rule in there. I mean, come on, like you can't blame that. The guys that last longer are the guys that don't throw super hard. That only throw 90, 91, 92, and rely on their off-speed pitches, and rely on spin rate and movement. Like this is the problem. Also, these guys are being told by a young age to throw hard. These tiny guys are 15, 16 years old. They're being encouraged. Throw 7 miles an hour. You got kids that are 12 years old throwing curveballs. To me, that shouldn't be. I played baseball, so I'm 22 years old. I played baseball when I was 9 until I was 15 years old. So about 7 years. I played baseball. I always had trouble hitting the curveball because I just didn't. Kids weren't throwing curveballs. There was maybe 2 or 3, kids who were like really, really good, like good enough to be top of the end high school baseball players, possibly even play Division I baseball. That that I would see, throwing curveballs. When I was 12, no one threw a curveball. No one threw a curveball. It wasn't until I was maybe 14 or 15 where you maybe had a couple of guys who consistently threw the curveball. You saw it a little more often. Now you got kids that are 11 years old throwing curveballs. This is a problem. A kid who's 11 trying to be throwing a curveball. It's too much on their arm. On top of the fact that they're throwing their fastball is hitting 60 miles an hour. By the time they get to the college level, they're throwing 90 miles an hour. No, this is a problem. It starts from a young age. These guys are throwing too hard. It's one thing that obviously there's not that many relievers on here. The only reliever that's on here is Felix Bautista. That's because he averages 99 miles per hour on his fastball right out of the gate. And his first year, he threw it 61% of the time, and his second, he threw it 70% of the time. He's got to chill out with that. You got to have all other pitches. The only guy only reliever that can have one pitch is Mariano Rivera. He threw one pitch, basically, and a cutter. He had multiple variations of it, but it was one pitch. But it's the greatest pitch ever. He's the greatest reliever ever by a country mile. I don't think anyone's ever going to catch him. Once you're him, as a reliever, you got to have another pitch. You don't need, you can survive with 2 pitches. Edwin Diaz, No, you argue he was the best reliever in baseball. Obviously, 2 years ago he was. You know, didn't play last year because of the injury, and now he's back and he's looked sharp. So he's picked up basically where he left off. He only throws a fastball slider, but he's got a very good fastball that can easily hit 100. Probably averages at least 98, and he has a filthy slider that is probably in the that probably is 93 to 94 miles an hour, and is one of the best pitchers in all baseball. But as a starter, you got to have a solid 4 pitches. Yeah, but these guys are throwing too hard. I know it sounds really, really weak and soft, but like, you're gonna have success in this league for a long time as a major league pitcher. If you don't throw as hard, take a little off. Your fastball. I think you should hit 92, 93, 94. So don't let's say you go out there, early on your career, you have some success, throw 92 miles an hour. Next year, don't set a goal. Oh yeah, I want to throw 95. No, don't do that. I don't think pitchers love to tinker, and obviously sports and baseball especially is all about making the necessary adjustments. But the unnecessary adjustment is not trying to just out of the blue. Your whole career you've been a 92-mile-per-hour guy. No, you rely on whatever slider, curveball, changeup. That's how you have success, and you've had success. Don't just what. Now I'm going to all of a sudden be a power pitcher and try and throw 95, 96. Like, don't do that. And that's what's happening. All the guys that throw really freaking hard and throw their fastball 40, 50, 60% of the time, they have a lot. Actually, jacks up in the middle of their career. The amount of times they throw their fastball jacks up all of a sudden. All the guys are having Tommy John surgery. It reminds me of a quarterbacks in the NFL. They're really flashy guys who make all these who run a lot, make all these crazy plays with their legs. All right, yeah, they're fun to watch. They might be really good, but they don't usually last very long. Cam Newton, 2015 was what, his 6th year in the league. He was MVP of the league, and within a few years, he couldn't throw the ball 5 yards. He had a 10-year career. Randall Cunningham, you saw the drop off he had. His career wasn't super, super long. Michael Vick, he's a little different because obviously he was out of the league for a couple of years because he was obviously in jail. But still, once he got back, he kind of picked up where he left off with Eagles to get a second chance, and all of a sudden, his legs gave out. He had a zillion different hamstring issues that cut his career short. Happened with every guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen's career won't be as long as people think. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's great. He's won 2 MVPs, but I don't know if he'll ever win a Super Bowl, and I don't know if he's gonna have this 15 to 20-year career. These guys who run, they might at their peak, if they're good, they'll be great players and be fun to watch and have great careers, but they're not playing more than 8, 10, 11, maybe 12 years. The guys who just aren't as flashy and sit in the pocket more, those are the guys you see having the 15, 18, 20-year career. Look at Tom Brady. Whenever he broke off a run for 8 yards, people freaked out like, whoa, what's going on? He's the greatest of all time, but dude played for almost 25 years. Even Eli Manning. That dude played for what, 18 years? Ben Roethlisberger played for what, 17, 18, 19 years? Kirk Cousins is 35, 36 years old. He's been in the league. This is going to be what, his 12th or 13th year in the league. He was drafted the same year as Robert Griffin III. And when healthy, he's still a phenomenal quarterback. Not phenomenal, maybe I'm over-exaggerating. He's still a good quarterback that, can, which, enough to get obviously that big contract in the Falcons. Still DC, still a good quarterback. Doesn't seem like he's, obviously he's an elite, but he's, above average guy. That guys are going to, still trust every single year. Same thing with, with these starting pitchers. The guys that, average 98 mile per hour in a fastball and throw it 60% of the time, jack up their velocity, middle of their career for no reason, and throw their fastballs more as they're doing that. It might be fun to watch, and when healthy, they'll have great careers, but they're not going to last long. They're gonna blow up their arm. They're gonna have all these arm problems. It's gonna derail their career. But as I only throw 92, 93 and rely on their off-speed stuff and don't throw as many fastballs, are the guys who are going to have, they're going to be even more successful. They're going to have even longer careers. So that is why we are seeing a lot more Tommy Johns. It's not because of the pitch clock, not because they don't let the pitchers use, certain substances anymore. It's simply because these guys are throwing the ball really hard for years and years and years, and just your arm just can't, and the human body just can't take it. You got guys who they're coming in out of the gate throwing super hard, throwing their fastballs, 60% of the time, or they start out 93, 94, 95, and then they jack up their velocities. They want to throw harder. Not the way to go. All right, that's my little episode on why there have been so many Tommy Johns for the last 2 years. We'll see where this trend goes. See if any other information comes out. If there's any other reasons why this keeps happening. But until next time, so long. Have a great day.